want to reach. It's not showing me to. Okay, Toto, please, can you do me if you can also record on your end? It's not showing me to record on this device, just in the off chance that for some reason I lose track of this. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, so thank you. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's look at this. So we're looking at people one. We're looking at the tree. It's not really easy because most people don't do people one on even on YouTube as much as possible. I do it with my students, but because of um the branding, the pictures of the images of my students, it's usually they turn on their videos, so I can't put it on YouTube. And that's why if I'm going to put this on YouTube as well as possible, it's just pinned, so your faces are not showing, which makes it actually real cool. So in the case of recording, your videos have to be turned off. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. So this is May June 2022, and we're just looking at the component for our school, which is 12. We have 11, we have 12, and we have 13. So I'm just going to put this here. So okay. So let's dive down. This is important to actually read the instructions of the question. Maybe just 1 minute or probably 30 seconds. Go through it to give you an idea of what to do. Okay, so let's start with the first question, which is question 2. Says circle 2 input devices. And I feel that we have talked about this. So now we have an understanding of what input devices are. And if you're wondering, now we have a little culture in people one. And people one is you get to look at the question and I get to tell you the chapter is found in the textbook, kind of like a book club, right? So circle 2 input devices, it is seen in chapter 1. And don't go further. The moment you open chapter 1, you're going to see hardware and software, right? And there you're going to see right there on hardware, few lines, you're going to see input and output. That's what they mean, right? That's what we're talking about. And we've talked about input devices. And we said input devices are those devices that help to send data to the computer system. And then we gave so many examples of our input devices. There is mouse, there is keyboard, scanners, etc., etc. Now, let's look at all what is being given here. 3D printer. Okay, you see that in chapter 2, right? Under the output devices. Actuators, okay? Actuators on the other hand, right? They work together with the microprocessor, especially for doors. And we have them in linears, and then we have them in rotary. You can also see the automotives in autonomous vehicles. No, you don't see actually autonomous vehicles. You can see them in industries. As much as you can see them in industries as well, also indoors. Okay. CD-ROM on the other hand, you're going to see it in chapter 3. We are talking about storage devices and media. And that CD means compact disc read-only memory. Okay. Digital camera. Digital camera because you are capturing. That's chapter 2. And in chapter 2, we have that's chapter 1. You see input and output in chapter 1. Chapter 2, you will see input and output devices. So circle 2 input devices simply means they're talking about chapter 2. Because we have input and output what devices. We're talking about the input devices. Okay. While your input, you also see a glimpse of that in chapter 1 as well. So digital camera, on the other hand, is a input device because it helps to capture images, right? So you're taking it as much as possible. Keyboard is input devices. Linkers are system software. They are part of system software, and you see that in chapter 1. Okay, you see it in chapter 1 where we talk about system softwares and the types of system and the types of other steps of under software. We have system software and application software, right? Under the system software, we're going to see linkers. We have operating system, we have utilities, we have linkers right there, chapter 1. Exciting stuff. Monitors, on the other hand, you find them in chapter 2 under output devices. Speakers, chapter 2, output devices. So you're going to see how we're able to put all these together. And this is why it's important, because if you don't read the textbook, you just, or you're looking maybe or a mark scheme, you'll be limited to just the answers without having an in-depth knowledge of what it is. And that's why most teachers, they find it difficult in actually putting out paper one out there, right? Because you need to explain the concept to the children to be able to understand. Okay, so obviously with that, you already know your input devices without even us but they have been able to give you where the chapters are coming from. So, and that's 2 marks, right? Literally 2 marks. Now we have in chapter 2, question 2 rather, a computer controlled glass house. Okay, computer controlled glass house is used to grow plants. And we have looked at this glass house in the previous paper, right? We've looked at it in the previous paper and we've been able to see, have an idea. We're going to have an idea how it looks like. Let's say identify 2 output devices used in a glass house. So let's begin to identify them. Those 2 output devices used in glass house. When we are talking about the input devices used in glass house, we are looking at invariably those things are able to just relay any kind of information, right? That can be able to relay any kind of information. Now, you know what a glass house is. What are those output devices? You will not see it in the textbook. It's crazy, but it's the truth, right? They expect you to have a knowledge, is applicable. They expect you to have a knowledge and then know how to apply. So we'll look at those output devices. Number 1 is what? We talked about actuators. Now let me explain the actuators. This is where actuator comes in for doors. Because the moment they sense a presence, remember, this is a computer-controlled glass house. Computer control. So obviously, this is a high-tech or a high medical firm glass house that they are probably engineering a special plan for their medicine. The moment they put computer control, it means everything is computerized. That's what it simply means. So an actuator, you expect that if you're watching all these tech films, you know what I'm talking about. All these medical scientific films where you have med labs working on high tech something. You know, you have an idea of what I'm talking about. So most of the time, as they are coming in, the door is opening because the sensor is sensing the presence and there's giving utterance to that. We can also have windows openers, right? So, or vents, what we call a vent, right? Windows openers work in such a way that the moment it is day, right, it can open up, and once it's night, it can also close up as well. We can have heaters, right? We can also have heaters. Now, heaters work in such a way that when probably the place is cool, right? It is below a certain temperature. It needs to warm up the plants or something. I'm not really good at biology or something, right? It needs to warm up the place. Obviously, watching all these tech films really helps, right? So, yeah. Okay, so something like that, right? And I think that's what I have on computer control because it's used to go plants, right? For biology students, obviously, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about to grow plants. So obviously, probably if you're doing biology, she'll be able to just skate you in this question without sweat, right? Question 3, network devices are used in computer systems. Now we have network devices. That is chapter 4, okay? Complete each sentence by identifying, okay? By identifying, what are we identifying? The most appropriate network devices. What are those network devices? Your hub, your switch, your router, your bridges, your network interface card, Let me check. Let's go to the textbook and let's see. I think I've tried. Let's see. Chapter 4, chapter 4, chapter 4, chapter 4, chapter 4. Okay. It's right here, right? Okay, so we have them here. Common network devices. So we have the network interface card. Your hubs, switches. Now, by the way, if we look at hubs, since we're looking at chapter 4, let's just do a brief summary of chapter 4. Now, for hubs, these are things you need to now hardware. When you talk about network devices, what they simply means are hardware devices. That's what they mean, hardware devices, right? So invariably, they can have a number of other devices connected to them. So hubs are the same thing with switch. They have a number of other devices connected to them. Now, what they do is that they primarily connect devices together to form what we call a LAN, local area network, which is the kind of network that you can access within a building. Right? Now, a hub will take a data package, which is data that are being sent in bits, right? Received at one of its ports, and then we broadcast it. So whatever package it gets on one port is going to broadcast it to every other devices connected to it. Now, this is an idea of what we're talking about the hubs. Now, you see that the data package is sent to one hub port. And in our last class, right? I think the part one of the class, yes, part one, right? I was able to okay, part two of the class out of the class we had yesterday. I was able to show you how this thing works, the switches, and then obviously we as a school we cannot use a hub because whatever information it gets, it broadcasts. We need a switch that is able to just send it to that particular computer. Now, when it comes to the hub, to one of the hub ports, it's going to send it out to every device that is connected to this hub. So the data is sent out to all devices connected to the hub in the network. But unlike the switch, right, which is an intelligent, is a smart, right, is a smart version of the hub, right? Simply means that it's something like this, right? The one we have is Cisco. I showed you the one we have is Cisco. There are different bands of switches, right? Is that they can connect a number of devices, the same thing with hub to form. But the key difference about the switch is this, is that you see somewhere here, is that incoming data arriving at one of its ports and it will direct it to the correct device. None of the other devices will see this data packets. None of them. So it simply means that if the data packet is sent to one of the switch and it's meant for that computer, it's going to send it to that computer. And that's why I like showing you pictures. So by the time you see the pictures, you can be able to have an understanding of it. But for hub, it sends to everything. Now, using the lookup table, a switch, I want to also explain it because most of the time they bring questions on them. Now, another thing to look at is that each port on the switch connected to a device, we have what we call a MAC address. A MAC address talks about the address of each computer, right? The address of each computer, because your MAC address is the address of your network interface card. The only way to change your MAC address is for you to change your network interface card. Okay, you need to understand this. But your internet protocol is the network IP. So it simply means that for every network you connect to, you are given an IP address. Okay. Now, let's say these are 6 ports that have been connected. This simply means 6 computers. Okay. It simply means what? 6 computers have been connected. Now, the next thing is using the lookup table. This is a market, so we'll call it a lookup table, like a table. Since there are 6 ports, like a table. Now the switch will match the MAC address of the incoming data arriving at one of its ports and direct it to what the correct device. So if it's coming in, it's sending it to that device. Whatever which is coming in, any data package coming in, is sending to that device. Anyone coming in, so it simply means that for each of them they have their data packets. Okay, and that's as simple as that. Now it is more secure than hub, and we've talked about the reason why it is more secure. Now, in conclusion, hubs and switches are used to what exchange data within their own world, local network. And you can also go to the summary as well. The summary is going to help you with what I've explained. Now, let's look at bridges. Now, for the case of bridges, it's that simple. What bridge does, like I said earlier, right, there are devices that connect one LAN to another LAN using what? The same internet protocol. The whole essence of the bridge is that, you know what bridge does now? If you the normal idea of bridge, right, is that it is used to connect different parts of what? A LAN, so that they can function as what? A single LAN. So all this, right, this is one computer connected to the switch or hubs, computer connected to the switch or hub. Now this is each of them with their own server. Now the bridge is now going to connect all of them, the two of them, to form as what? One single LAN. So at the end of the day, what happens is that we also have a bridge here. There's one small thing I would have shown you. I forgot to show you guys that there is one small. I will show you. So what happens is that from the bridge, the router will now be connected to the bridge and will now forward it to the internet. So all the local LANs, we have one here, we have one in senior school, we have one in 6th form, right? We have a bridge that can connect them. We have one here and we have one in the boys' hostel. So we have a bridge that connects both of them together and then sends it with the help of the router to the internet. Now, unlike router, bridge cannot communicate with the external network. The function of bridge is just to bring together different parts, bring together different LANs, right? Or different switches together to form what? To function as a single LAN. Now, can you see what I'm talking about? Now, what happens is this. For the router is used to route that data package from one network to another network based on the IP address. Okay, so routers are used to join a LAN to the internet. That's simple. This is the exam time. I'm not explaining too many things, right? Explaining what you do right and get your full mark. Okay, so yes, we know that it is based on the IP address. But the function of the router is used to join a LAN to the internet. So what router does is, in this case now, right here, there will be a router that will connect this bridge now. This will not be a single LAN to the internet. And that's the function of this. So this is now a LAN where you have your computers connected, the server, then the router will now connect it to the internet. Now, on that one, let's move. Then, this is the same thing we're talking about, right? The same process, how each one works. They said the S1 to S4 are the switches. So these are the computers. Switch or hubs, whichever one. Switch or hubs, whichever one. Switch or hubs. Now, each of them, they said the RO to RO4 are what? The routers. So all these right here are the routers. And your C is what? Your computers. Simple. So each one connect to the internet, each one connect to the internet, each one connect to the internet as much as possible. So it's nothing difficult there. Which other one again do I need to explain? I think I've talked about Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Another one that is not here, I think that one is in the 2nd edition. Let me see if I can bring up the 2nd edition real quick. So I will see it. They didn't bring in the 3rd edition. Notice. There's what I want to show you. That one is not in the 3rd. That one is not in the 3rd edition. There are some things they took out from that was in 2nd edition that are not in the 3rd edition. So I'm not expecting you to read 2nd edition to read the textbook. That's why I told you guys read the textbook so you know which one is there and which one is not there. So you don't have to kill yourself. There's some questions we just skip. You don't have to answer them. We'll skip them immediately. We don't have to answer them. Let me look for it real quick. think I have them here. Sorry, let me. Yes, I have the second edition. Let me open it. This is the second edition. It's still chapter 4, networks. Can you see? Network devices. Now, this 2022 is based on second what? Edition. But in third edition, did they put network device? They didn't put network devices. So you need to know the difference. They only now for this one now, they only use the common network devices and terms. So we have those normal network devices. The ones on the table, the one you focus on, they will not bring anything outside from it. And that's why this class is very, very important. So you will not be answering unnecessary past papers. Know what to answer and leave the rest. Because those ones will not come out. It's like you killing yourself in practical, doing practical, and be answering practical questions. The theoretical questions are practical. When you know that they're not bringing theoretical questions on practical. So we need to know what to study for and what not to study for. So, but for the sake of now, check network devices, they bought in modem, but there's no modem in third edition, so you don't have to kill yourself. But invariably, back then people were using modem. Now nobody even uses that anymore. But for modem, we call it modulators and demodulators. What happens is that it converts a computer digital signal to analog form for transmission, right, over the telephone line, and then revert the process back to digital signal to enable the computer to process data. So that's why it works. It modulates, send to analog for transmission, bring it back for receiving end. So if you check your modem, you see send, receive. That sending is what we call modulator. It's modulating. Then the receive is called demodulating. Okay, they give you an example. Watch. You have uploading data, that is sending the data, one bit whatever, and then you have receiving data. Right? If in your house, if you can do internet, your internet speed, it gives you an idea of what we are talking about. So that's the only thing that is here. The data package, obviously, right? That data is carried out in packet according to which protocol, right, is used. That data package, right, is carried out in packet. Now, the data that is now carried out, right, and we have some form of headers to identify data package, the sender's IP address, receiver IP address, how many data package make up the whole message, the identity number of each of the packets. So it's breaking those messages into what we call data packet. That message you are sending is in a data packet in network. Simple. So we don't have to kill ourselves. All this gateway, they didn't bring it. All this gateway, they didn't bring it in third edition, right? But you need to also know what they are, right, as much as possible. For gateway, we call them network points on node, and they act as what we call an entrance to another network. That's what gateway are, right? There's also a hardware device. There's also a network device as well, gateway, right? So that one key thing about gateway is that it can communicate outside its network. And for you to communicate outside the network, you need to have a form of gateway, right? And right here, you see all network we have boundaries so that all communication within the network is conducted using devices such as switches or router. I think that they took those things out, right? They took those things out as well as possible. I think those are the things they took out. So it's fine. So let's go back to that question. So they said, now we have an understanding. They said, complete each sentence by identifying the most appropriate network devices. The network device that is used to transmit the data along an analog telephone line. So what we have said now, what do you think is the answer? Analog telephone line. Where is it? Let me show you. Can you see it? It does the reverse process in that it converts what? Analog signals from what? From a telephone line into a digital signal, demodulate to enable the computer to process data. Like I said, this is from second edition. They will not ask you in third edition. But in second edition, that's well, so I understand, right? So, but that's what it does. So the modem is what does it. So we don't have to concern ourselves about modem, but just for the sake of that we can just do that, right? Okay, the next one is the network device that connects a LAN to a WAN is what? Now we looked at local. Now, if you're wondering where you see this, you also see this in chapter 4, where you have your networks, and we have 3 of them. We have the LAN, we have the WAN, and we have the WAN LAN. Let me show you you see it here. WLAN. Down. Look at it. Can you see it? Network types. We have the local area network, we have the wireless local area network, we have the. But now they're talking about network devices. So which of the network that will connect a local area to what? To a WAN, which is the wireless area what? Network. Now, there is one thing. There's one network device that can do that. And I've explained that in this class. What can do that is, let me show you. Can you see this? The router are used to join a LAN to what? The internet. But maybe in second edition, they said it according to how they put it in the textbook. Let me check. Look at it in over here. Can you see it? You see why there's a difference? Routers enable data packet to be routed between different networks, for example, to join a LAN to what? A WAN. So they will set based on the textbook. So I can understand why that is a bit confusing. So that this one simply means wireless area network. So it is a router that does this. Then the C part, the network device that allow data to be directed to a specific computer on a LAN. I believe everybody knows this now. What is the answer? What is the answer? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, so with this now, the C part, what's the answer? That can allow data to be directed to a specific computer. So this simply means, what this means is that the data packet that is sent to the port is now being directed to the computer that information is meant to. Unlike the other one, that if it's sent to the port, it's going to broadcast it to all the computers. So you know what I'm talking about now?
Not exactly. Wait, is it? So please can you repeat the question?
Now, they said the network devices that allow data to be directed to a specific computer on a LAN is what?
Is that a switch?
Is what?
A switch.
Yes. Unlike for hub now, Hub is going to what? Once the data packet is sent to that port, it's going to broadcast it to all other what? All other computers. But a switch is going to do it to just a specific one. A specific one. Okay. The D part.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
For D, is the answer network interface card? And I see.
Let's look at it now. The internal network device that allows the computer to be connected, to connect to a LAN is, let's look at it now. Internal simply means that it is inside the system unit. It is mounted on a motherboard. What allows your computer to be, what allows you now to connect to this class is a network interface card. Let me show you how the network interface card looks like. Network interface card. This is how it looks like. Right here. We have external. But now, depending on your laptop, the smaller your laptop, the smaller, like I said, all the components are going to be miniaturized. They're going to be reduced. Okay? But this is basically how the network interface card is. So, you see this port? This is where you now plug in maybe what we call your RJ45. You're going to start at 45. That's if you want to plug your Ethernet cable to it. But invariably, this piece right here is what allows you. Let me see HP. This for HP. You can see how this one is very small. You can see how they are invariably. That's how the network interface card is. So it is inside your laptop. When I say internal, we talked about internal component now, internal hardware components and external hardware component. I will say internal. Anything internal, we talk about internal devices. There are those components that are found inside. Okay. Now, unlike laptops, everything is mounted, both your keyboard, everything is mounted, touchpad, they're all mounted on the motherboard, which is your system unit. I want you guys to understand. So whenever you see questions like this, you will know how to answer it. Okay, we'll do question 4 and then we'll call it a day. And we're going to, like I said, if we want to break it down, the most important thing is for you guys to understand the concept of it. Now, many word processing package has a number of formatting features. Okay, now this is a bit of a practical question, but let's look at this. Now we've done document production, right? So even though you will not see something like this in your paper 1, but then again, if they bring something like this, you should not have issue with it. Now, many word processing packages have a number of formatting features. The paragraph below shows some of the features that can be used. Now, these are the features. This is the paragraph here. Now, we're going to look at it critically. Say, write down 4 of the formatting features that have been used in this paragraph shown. When we talk about the formatting features, we're talking about, we're looking at fonts, font colors, font size. We're looking at, in fact, this is what we're looking at. Enhancements. We're looking at, basically that's what we are looking at. All this I've said, that's what we are looking at. So let's look at it. Now, when we look at this, the N, this NSR, something is, a formatting has been applied to it because it's different. So, and that is Ctrl plus B. A bold feature has been applied to it. Right? A bold feature has been applied to it. What else again? Now look at Newton. Underline feature. Okay, look at this 5. A fill color. This fill color, or what we call highlighted, it's been highlighted. So there's a highlighter on it. Do I have my words? Let me show you what I'm talking about real quick. Equals to 1. Sorry. So let's say I want to highlight this. So watch this. So I'm going to use text highlighted color. That's what we call it. We call it text highlighted color. Let me make it red. That's what they did though. So if I'm to print this black and white, so you see what I'm talking about. Let me print this black and white. Our printer is black and white. Fine. I'm coming. Let me do this. Let me see the PDF. Change it. I'll change it back. Change printer property. Advanced. Let me change. Let me see. It's not online. But our printer, if you are printing this, this is going to be what? This is going to be this color is going to construct. That's what I wanted to show you. But I think this can be possible if I print it to PDF first, then use Edge to change the color. To do that as much as possible. This is what we are talking about. Look at it, at the same thing. Can you see that? At the same thing. That's what we mean by that. So it's a text highlighter. Text highlighter color. Which other one? Look at this team's team. This teal, I think it's slant. It's slant. I think it's italics. This italics. Have I mentioned up to 4? You see that one again. Okay, notice something about the text, the paragraph. Now, the way they did this paragraph, this was done. I want to check something. Exactly. So that's justified. So this is the full justification. You know, we have left align, right align, center align, and then we have justification, justified. That has been justified. Okay. Okay, we have a B part. So let's look at the B part as well before we'll look at the B part and then we close. They said the logo for the summer STEAM festival is shown and labeled. A. The organizers of the event are planning to create a second logo for all their correspondence. Come again. This is the logo. A. Now the organizers of the event are planning to create a second logo for all their correspondence. Now this is the second logo they have created. This is the first logo, this is the second logo. Literally, there's no difference, but a little bit of a difference. So let's look at the difference here. They said describe the step used to transform logo A to logo B. Now, looking at this logo, obviously these were grouped. The size was reduced, the logo was reduced, fill color was applied to black, text color was changed to white. For this object as well, this color was constructed. This color was constructed. What else can we see here? Okay, I think that's all now. They said if you want to put them in steps, So let's see how we can let's see how we can put this in steps. Right? We have an idea what happened. So the first thing we can do is we have to, okay, this they said, okay, so obviously we have to click on this image or logo, then we have to use the shape width to reduce it because it's almost the same thing. It's trying to create a second logo for the correspondence. Okay, so how this was created is, now you will see that the first thing is that a rectangle was drawn. One, the shape was changed to the one that has 4 corners. The text color was white. Fill color was added to that shape as black. And of course, this side of the tray was also reduced and the color was constructed as much as possible. The color was constructed as much as possible. So that gives us an idea. That gives us an idea. So we can see that so right here, I think that's all now. So literally that's all for that. Okay, let's look at, so that's what we'll stop. And it's 4 marks. So when it's 4 marks, don't kill yourself. 4 marks, 4 points. Describe how this is done in just 4 lines. As much as possible, I dimension it in just, right? Put them in list as well. Put them in, like I said, put them in list them, how this was created. That will save you the stress. Okay, so in our next class, we're going to look at question 5. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'm going to see you tomorrow for the next class. Bye bye.